edition of Coach's Show here on News Channel Nebraska, brought to you by State Farm. Give an adult a call today. Discuss auto, home, life, and renters insurance. Brandon Axmit, Grant Otten, and Craig Williams with the Columbus Discoverers. Coach, coming off a win against Schuyler, and we talked about it before. You're a win and you're in scenario the final week of the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, our kids have put themselves in a great position going into this last week. One of our goals was win the district title, and now we're one game away. And, it's going to be fun to have another team coming in that is sitting and undefeated in the district also. And it raises the stakes a little bit, and it's a very good football team in Blair.
Well, as we get ready to look at some highlights, very exciting. You guys came out with some big wins, but also when you play a team where I guess you would say you guys are probably expected to win at the point you guys were coming into these games, you still got to play good and you got to put some points on the board, or people are going to say, well, maybe they don't have the mental capacity to play when they're kind of at a higher point. Yeah, and as a coach, I know every coach is a little different, but I'm actually a little more nervous when we play these games that we're a favorite or a heavy favorite. And I couldn't be proud of our guys. They really came out and executed well. And from the opening snap, from the opening kick, we were blocking the way we were supposed to. We were filling gaps on defense the way we were supposed to, getting downhill, making tackles, and they really did play a complete game. And there was a couple things we had to clean up, but for the most part, we were doing our assignments, getting the job done.
And you did exactly what you thought you should. 49-0 is the final score against the Warriors. Taking a look at the highlights now, is you dominated from start to finish. 28 points in that first quarter, and you never looked back.
Yeah, and talking to the kids out on the line, lay it all on the line here in the first quarter, and let's just see where we're at from there. We'll worry about the other 3 quarters when that happens, but let's see where we can get to after that first quarter. And the kids came out and played hard in that first quarter, and really carried it all the way through, and we got some chances to have some other kids play, but we had a tremendous night on the ground rushing the football. We had over 400 yards rushing. Our defense set a school record, only giving up 8 yards on the ground, so the previous record was 12. And, just did a tremendous job all night on both sides of the ball.
Well, you talk about Wolf quite often throughout the season, but then you look at guys like Stanley and Leon who got touchdowns and got a lot of play time here, partially because you guys went up by so much. But that's got to be exciting for you as a coach and for the senior class to see guys like that put up some good numbers here.
Yeah, it's great for those kids, like watching Juan here run and make some moves and get into the end zone, but it's great for those kids, Devin Stanley, Juan Leon. Wyatt's been getting a number of carries and been a big part of our offense. Caleb Esch has been carrying the ball more here recently from that wing and slot back position. But the biggest thing is we haven't had to give the ball to Colton 25, 30 times in a game to win it. And, we keep him as fresh as we can going into the district title game now, and because we're going to need him this Friday.
Well, we just saw Esch catch a pass right there, and it was off a nice little play-action play, and you talked about using some of that play action against South Sioux City. Is that something you guys plan on using against your upcoming opponent against Blair?
Yeah, it's something we've had to do all year. We're not going to drop back and throw the ball 60 times a game. When we can run the football effectively, and most games we've been able to do it to some degree, we need to use that play action to keep our pass percentage high, completion percentage high. And Michael's got a very high completion percentage this year. We were 2 for 4 throwing the ball on Friday, so we really didn't throw the ball a whole lot. But we need to stay efficient in that part of the game, not have turnovers in that part of the game, not have sacks in that part of the game, and that's what the play action can give you.
We talk about Esch obviously being a leading receiver and mentioning him here just a second ago. His role is, I would say, increased as the year has gone on, but just because he's a talented player, did you see that out of him coming into the season?
Yeah, we knew he could get there, and to be honest with you, he was battling some pulled muscles there early in the year. A speed guy, that doesn't really bode well for those types of guys. So, but the last few weeks, he's really gotten himself healthy, and it's fun to see what he can do, and it's fun to sit there on the weekend and game plan when you got that kind of weapon out there.
And Coach, you have Blair this week at Pawnee Park for a win in your in scenario, but how does it feel that your team pretty rested? You had Schuyler, you had South Sioux City before that, where you had pretty much your backups in the second half for both those contests.
Yeah, it's great for the kids that don't get to play a whole lot to get in there and get an opportunity. And I know it's great for the parents and grandparents and all the fans to get to see some of those other kids. And it's as exciting for the starters as it is anybody else, because they're on the sideline, they're cheering guys on, and they really want to see those guys that they have to battle every day in scout team. And they know what they can do in scout team, and they see some of those things they do, but they really get excited to see those scout team players go out there and perform well, and they did perform well for most of the night.
Well, we've talked about most of the running backs. Olcott is one we haven't talked about so far, and he got a decent amount of carries and did a good job of battling in the middle. You see him in the backfield there. He was lowering his shoulder, getting after it. Things. How do you feel about his performance on the weekend?
You know, he did a great job offensively, but he's gotten better and better in the last few weeks on defense. And you know, Juan Leon's had that bad ankle, and he's starting to get back to 100% now. But Wyatt's done a good job of filling in that spot, and now we feel like going forward here, we got 3 solid middle linebackers going forward too.
And the fact that it was homecoming, how did that play? And obviously nice to have a dominant performance on a homecoming night.
Yeah, you know, the homecoming's more for the kids than it is the coaches. It's just pretty much just another game for us. But you know, it's something that the kids will remember. You know, and they do remember their homecoming game most years. And I'm sure you guys could think back and remember if you won or lost your homecoming game. But you know, it's great that we get a chance to ring the bell there right before we have the crowning of the king and queen. And you know, it was a good night all around.
What's the focus for you guys coming into this week against Blair? Obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a different matchup than the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you know, it's the biggest thing was a few weeks ago we had a big game here on our home turf, and we didn't perform real well, and we know that. You know, we want to make sure that we go out and we don't let the moment get too big for us. We have fun. And you know, that's what we got back to a couple weeks ago after that loss against Scud is we were focusing on having fun in practice and doing the things right, but you know, having some enjoyment and enjoying each other out there. And the kids have done a great job this week of doing that. So you know, yes, we know we have a huge game coming up, but you know, it's not worth it if you're not having fun.
Well, about a minute and a half to go now. Columbus News Team got here 2 football seasons ago, and you were in a similar situation at the end of that season where it was you had 2 wins and it was a win and you're in and you made it. Now, I know this is a different group of players, but do you draw parallels from 2 seasons ago or kind of talk to them about what it takes to come out on top of a play-in game like this?
Well, you know, every now and then we'll bring up the past seasons, but you know, we feel pretty comfortable with where we're at. You know, we're playing for the district title. You know, we do feel that the loser of this game is probably going to be in the playoffs at a 12 or 13 seed. You know, the unfortunate thing is that team's probably going to have to travel out to a Scotts Bluff or a McCook, and nobody wants to drive to Colorado to play a Nebraska high school football game. So you know, there's a lot riding on the line there, but you know, we're focusing on that district title right now, and you know, we're trying to stay as loose as we can with the big game coming up.
And wrapping this one up, mentality of the players. I'm assuming they're fired up and ready to go?
Yeah, we've had a good week, and today, you know, with the cool weather again, that makes it a little easier, but you know, they've had fun, and we had guys hitting and popping and getting after it today, and it was a lot of fun at practice.
All right, Coach, we'll be broadcasting it. Wishing you the best of luck on Friday.
All right, thank you guys.
And that wraps up the first segment here of the Coaches Show. That was Craig Williams with the Discoverers looking for a win to secure a playoffs here on Friday night. Watch it on News Channel Nebraska, 6:45 and a 7 p.m. kickoff. We're with Coach Frengen when we return.
State Farm agent Annette Alt can help you find the right level of auto coverage. Call today at 402-564-8581. Rest easy. State Farm agent Annette Alt is there for you. Call 402-564-8581 today for the service you deserve.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Annette Alt in Columbus today.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show here on News Channel Nebraska. Brandon Axmit, Grant on, as we are talking Lakeview Vikings here with Coach Friends. And Coach, big victory against Adams Central last Friday, and you're exactly where you want to be going into the final week of the regular season as we take a look at some of the highlights.
Yeah, our kids came out and really played 4 quarters of pretty good football, especially the first half. I thought the first half we probably played as good as we could play, and we just had some nice, good offensive plays, and defensively got some good stops early. So we just combined for a really good football game for us.
Well, yeah, you guys really started out very strong on offense, putting a couple points on the board. Can you talk about a little about that offensive drive there early on to get kind of a nice lead?
Well, we just came out and we wanted to run the football, and we wanted to run at them, and I think our offensive line did a great job of that. Came out, really established the line of scrimmage in our backs. Jacob Frenzen really busted loose on the first play of the game where he took off and had a big long run for us. Then we were able to keep building upon that the rest of the half. Jaden Johnson had a couple bootlegs in for scores, and then really strong rushing from Jordan Jansen.
And of course, that's been something that we're accustomed to seeing now throughout the season for Lakeview. You like to pound the ball, and you did just that. You scored 28 points in the first half, and it seemed like every time you were carrying the ball, you were getting at least 5, 6, or 7 yards a pop. And of course, that always makes it pretty easy on the offense.
Yeah, it starts up front, and I thought our offensive line, like I said, not only did they get on blocks, but they stayed on blocks, and we're doing a good job on second-level blocks. And that sets up your passing game a little bit. And we just, right there was a great throw from Jaden to Nick Dolezal to get that score in first half as well. So they just continued to play really well all the way through. And second half, it got a little dicey for us. It was one of those things where he started to sub, and they kind of kept some guys in, but we were able to get out of there with the victory.
When you look at where you guys are at this season, and obviously we didn't have a lot of expectations because you lost a lot of players that got a lot of starting time last year, but you as a coach obviously know you had some talented guys filling in spots. Is this where you expected to be at in the year?
Yeah, we felt like we could put a pretty good season together, and a lot of it starts with just our pure leadership that we have out of our senior class. We felt like our seniors coming in were kids that really cared about our football program, kids that really cared about building a family atmosphere and having a team. So above talent and returning starters and all those things, I think we look at that as a coach first and foremost, and I think our senior class has really done a great job of just building our team up from within. And when you do those things, good things happen, and then the athletes start to step up and make plays, and it's a recipe for success.
And looking at this Adams Central game, the final score 35-21. I already mentioned it was 28-0 at the break. Was that something that maybe surprised you jumping out on your opponent that quickly, or is that something, knowing who you're going against, more so was expected?
No, Adams Central's a good football team, and they've been in every game. I mean, they took Ord, actually had Ord really on the ropes throughout the course of the game. Ord had blocked a field goal for a touchdown, picked that up and scooped and scored. They threw a touchdown right before the first half ended with three Adams Central guys standing around. So those 14 points out of an 8-point win for Ord. So it was that game. They've been in a lot of football games this year, tough losses. It's just one of those years where they can't get the close wins. So I don't know if I was surprised, but it's one of those things where we just executed at a high level and our kids played as close to their potential as they could.
We talked about offense. It obviously takes a good defensive effort when you're able to shut a team out in the first half, and then you give up a couple scores, but can you give a little analysis on what you thought the defense did?
Well, our defense, I think, only gave up like 50 yards at the half. And we kind of rolled the dice a little bit. We went with a 3-man front, and we played coverage and played cover one underneath and a couple guys over the top. And we just felt really comfortable with Zach Kobza and Connor Werdeman, Caleb Franzen, Alex Bakes. We felt like those 4 guys, and Cole Testendorf rotating in as well, that between those 4 or 5 guys that we could get 3 guys pretty fresh in there and collapse the pocket. And they proved us right, and started at the nose. I thought Zach really had a big game for us, nose guard. We bumped him down, and then our linebackers did a great job of getting us set and getting the defense set. And then our DBs were man a lot that night, and they made a lot of plays in coverage, and just a recipe for success. They started getting some yards in the second half a little bit. Their second team quarterback this year, who's the one that's been playing for most of the better part of the year, got hurt. They brought in their receiver, who's a really good runner, and they were able to shake loose running the ball a little bit on us. But outside of that, our defense played pretty well all night.
Now, because of that success you saw with that front on the change, you thinking about sticking with it, or was that something that was personnel-wise for Adams Central specifically?
It was more of a personnel, and it's a third down defense for us. It's kind of a old type of monster defense that you can get an extra DB in. It's one of those things where, you can't line up and have some of those gaps like we had the other night if you've got a power team that's going to put in 2 tight ends and they're going to exploit some of those weaknesses. But against Adams Central personnel-wise, it allowed us to do some things that we felt would put us in a position to be successful.
It's obviously a big week coming up, and you guys need to get a victory here. How has the intensity been at practice? I imagine the guys very excited.
We've had a really spirited week of practice, and that's one of the things, it's all you can ask as a coach, that you're in week 9 and you have the same enthusiasm, the same passion that you had as they did when they came out the very first day of 2 days, and that was definitely the case this week. It was a fun week of practice, and I think the kids are still enjoying football. And I've had years where we've had maybe better records going into last week, and we're kind of a little bit concerned that maybe they were getting in a rut a little bit. But I don't feel like that with this group. I feel like they still want to keep playing. They're going to fight their tails off to make that happen.
All right, Coach, just a couple minutes left, but break down the scenario for us. You're 16th right now in wild card, sitting at 5-3, and you have Ord. Is it a win and you're pretty much in scenario, or have you done the math on this at all? I know you need to win and take care of business and see how it falls. But.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too much coach speak going at you, and I know that doesn't make for good journalism, but to be quite honest with you, there's so many scenarios out there. We just need to focus on, again, this kind of broken record, but doing our job and making sure we're focused on Ord and trying to slow their offense down. They're one of the top offenses in our class, and we try to slow them down and move the ball consistently on offense and get a big play on special teams. We're going to have to do those things, and we start looking at decimal points, and if this team wins and that team wins, we get in, our seed could fluctuate, up in the 10s to down, barely getting in. So to be honest with you, we haven't talked about with the kids at all. We are so focused on Ord, and we have to be, because they're a very talented football team. If we don't, we're going to stub our toe.
Well, yeah, when you talk about that high-powered offense, they were able to beat SCOTUS. You guys didn't have a great game against SCOTUS, didn't play your best ball. You weren't very excited about that one, but how do you think you match up with these guys?
They're a talented football team, but, we've faced a lot of talented football teams. And the thing, you watch Ord, every one of their games are a dogfight. I don't care if they play Adams Central, GICC, O'Neill, whoever they play, they're all close, hard-fought battles. So I know what we're going to get, and this Ord team is a battle-tested team. There's not a scenario they haven't seen, and they've been down, they've been up, and they've tried to call back. They've had to try to hold on to leads. So, the couple losses they've had, they've made some mistakes, and team are to have capitalized on those mistakes, and that's what we're going to have to do.
Just under a minute to go. Tell us how the players have been. You said they've been spirited, but what's, I guess, the message more or less going into this final week of the regular season for your players?
Once again, I'm sorry to be redundant here, but again, it's been all about Ord. At film sessions, here's what they do. This is what we're going to have to do to slow them down, and offensively, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do to be successful, and have to do to be successful. And honestly, that's our message, and the kids really dialed in on that. And again, I think they've had a great spirited week of practice, and hopefully that translates onto the football field.
Well, as you finish up here and we get towards the end of the season, it's obviously exciting to see not only the players happy, but the coaches happy as well. Was the ending the game, winning the game, but also the events afterwards something you were excited to see too? Yeah,
it was pretty awesome. Coach New Year, it was one of those deals. We're going to have to win the game for that to happen, but we are fortunate enough to get the win, and he was ready to go and proposed to his future wife, Cassie, there. It was a pretty special moment for them as well, but we all enjoyed taking part in that, and our seniors there gathered around. It was pretty awesome, and he'd been kind of talking about it here for a while, and we all told him, you better lock her up. You definitely outkicked your coverage when you were able to convince her to fall in love with you. So I think he took our coach's advice and thought he needed to take advantage of that and make sure he got her under wraps there.
Now, was this decided pre-game, or was it, if we win, I'm doing it at the next win we do, or was it happening no matter what?
We were going to need a win to have this really be the romantic thing that it needed to be. So I've not seen Coach New Year that nervous since he's been a part of our staff this year. And at halftime, I don't think he was even knowing what day it was. He was pretty worked up, but things fell in line and we were able to get it done. I couldn't be happier for them both.
Well, 30 seconds to go. Ever had that happen before as a coach?
No, I have not. So it's something pretty special to be a part of. And like I said, it was neat. My family and I stepped back, and we were just glad to be on the outer edge watching that all unfold, and I couldn't be happier for them.
Well, congratulations to Coach New Year. Wishing you guys the best of luck for the Lakeview Vikings. They're looking for a victory as they take on Ord and hope to make the playoffs in Class C1. Brandon Axmit, Grant Otten, and that's Kurt Frenzen. I'd like to remind you this segment brought to you by State Farm. Give Annette Alt a call today to discuss auto, home, life, and renters insurance. Stay with us. We'll be with Tyler Linder, and let's go to Shamrocks when we return.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Annette Alt in Columbus today.
Well, I love it. I know, right? I saw it and I was just like, oh, I have to have it.
Is it suede?
Suede. Love suede.
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these.
Well, I love it. I know, right? I saw it and I was like, have to have it. Is it suede? It's suede. I love suede.
That's why we're there, with renter's insurance when things go wrong, but also here with a rewards credit card to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Annette Alt in Columbus today. State Farm agent Annette Alt can help you find the right level of auto coverage. Call today at 402-564-8581. Rest easy. State Farm agent Annette Alt is there for you. Call 402-564-8581 today for the service you deserve.
And welcome back to the Coaches Show here on News Channel Nebraska, our third segment with head coach Tyler Linder of the Shamrocks. I'd like to remind you this segment brought to you by State Farm. Give Annette Alt a call today to discuss auto, home, life, and renters insurance. Mr. Linder, coming off a win against Boone Central Newman Grove, how are you feeling?
Very good, very good. Thanks for having me.
Shall we jump right in?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right. Well, you went up to Albion. Last time you were there, you said you got beat pretty bad. That was your first game ever as a head coach. Wyatt Mazur was the quarterback. Things a little bit different on Friday, and you got a different result up in Albion.
Yeah, it definitely felt good going up there and getting out of Albion with a win, as opposed to last time we were up there. It kind of left a sour taste in our mouth, and I think we definitely rinsed that out the other night.
And obviously a good opportunity to get back on track here as you come towards the end of the season and look to try and win the district. How important was it for you, not only just for the records to get there and get that win, but emotionally as you finish out the season here and need another win at the end of the season to kind of finish out strong?
Well, it was huge for us. You know, obviously the district title race is still something that we can pursue. You know, Ord sitting in the driver's seat, but pending, they have a mishap, we're right where we need to be if we beat Adams Central this week. So it was big to get us back on track, and emotionally and just kind of, as a team atmosphere, it was a huge win for us. We played as well as I think that we can play. You know, you saw a great team show up against Lakeview, a great team show up against Boone Central. Now we just need that consistency week in and week out. We can't be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde every single week.
And of course, this coming off the heels of that Ord loss at home where about everything went wrong, was there any question in your mind that maybe you'd be able to bounce back or not? Because clearly your team did.
Yeah, I think I'm always the eternal optimist. You know, I think that when we show up, when we prepare well, great things can happen, and you saw that as a reflection of last Friday's score. So we always just have to control us and stay within our means and not worry too much about what other teams are going to do, and I think we're going to be successful.
Well, the makeup of this team is clearly a lot different than what you guys had last year, and a great season last year and a good season this year. How does the team kind of dealing when you talk about those seniors going from a really high year to having to battle through a little bit of adversity this year?
You know, I think it's a lot. You know, I've told our guys, especially after, you know, our 3 losses, that you can tell a lot about a person's character or a team's character, you know, in their darkest moments. And, you know, I saw it 2 years ago with an upset, you know, that we were faced against Kearney Catholic. You know, how is our team going to respond in the offseason, those sorts of things. And I think that little bit of adversity, you know, prompted us and really pushed us towards a state championship run. And so, you know, those tough losses that we've had this year, you know, your Newmans, Aquinas, and your Ord, those are all going to be very, very big catalysts for our success going forward.
And of course, talk about some of the key performers in this game. Tyler Palmer making plays like he does on the ground. You saw Dalton Taylor and Shohan. Someone else that looked like he had a pretty big game was Byerman. I believe he had 2 touchdowns on the night.
Yeah, Zach's a sophomore fullback for us. He's one of 3 guys that we rotate back there constantly. He's doing a great job. He's one of the most coachable kids that I've been around in recent years. He's kind of the, you know, do everything you say, and he's not going to really rebuttal too much that you have. So he's a phenomenal kid that works his tail off, and he's complemented by, you know, obviously a stout offensive line in front of him, but other skill guys that can kind of, you know, keep you know, defenses off balance.
And if you look at where you guys are at running back at the beginning of the year to where you're at now, it's quite a
big change in where you started at, so it's got to be good for you as a coach to see that evolution. And working with the big tier running backs that you had last year, it's probably good to get back to another result where you can kind of work all of those guys in more.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, after graduating 21 seniors last year, we knew that we'd have, you know, a nice core group of guys come back around that had a little bit of experience. But you know, through the course of our early practices and our early, you know, JV and reserve games, we started to see some guys like Byerman and Mustard, you know, and several others start to shine. And so really that gave our coaching staff confidence in those guys to get them on the field. And that's been incredibly valuable because you get other guys rest. You know, in a C1 program, we don't have just a, you know, an offensive unit and a defensive unit. Guys have to play both ways. And so whenever you can get guys spells here and there, it's going to just make for an all-around better unit to you know, as a whole. So very excited about the compliments that those younger guys can give to our older guys, and it's made our team a whole lot stronger.
Well, Coach, you said the Lakeview game and the Boone Central Newman Grove game, hands down the best games your team has played as a team, and you said obviously you need to keep that consistency going here heading into postseason. But you as the coach, how do you do that? How do you instill that into your players to say, hey, no more down games, we're staying at this peak level the rest of the way through?
You know, it's pretty easy motivating at this time of the year, you know, because right now it's win or go home. You know, we're still in the hunt for a playoff spot, you know, and potentially a district championship, but that all goes out the window if you have an off week against, you know, Adams Central or in the hopefully hopefully in the games to follow. So, you know, it's week by week, stay motivated and control the controllables within your area. If you're an offensive lineman, all you got to worry about is blocking, right? If you're a running back, all you got to do is worry about securing the football. So we got to take care of us and worry about that, and everything else will take care of itself.
You are prepping for Adams Central this week. What's kind of been the key focuses at practice?
You know, big thing is just cleaning up some of the, you know, little errors that we saw in film. One of the best things that we got out of film and you know, through our stat sheets was the first game in recent years that we went without an offensive penalty. So we have to keep that focus and and that mentality throughout the rest of the week. But we've just got to play disciplined and inspired defense. They throw the ball around a lot. You know, they're right around 75% pass, and we haven't seen a team that pass happy since, you know, Central City the past few years. So we're going to have to be really stout with our defensive secondary, but you know, the biggest difference that I've seen in our up and down games have been our passion and our enthusiasm. You know, against Lakeview, we were incredibly inspired and playing at a high level. Boone Central, our backs were against the wall, things were on the line, we were playing inspired. So from here on out, we've got to find that inspiration and stay passionate in everything that we do.
All right, Coach, about a minute and a half to go. Let's talk about this landscape of the wild card. Right now, Shamrock sitting at 5-3. You're number 14. You win, you're in. What have you? Obviously, as a coach, you take a look at these wild card points and kind of play out scenarios in your head. So, for those at home watching, kind of break it down for us.
Yeah, you know, I love the way that our playoff structure is. I think, you know, over the last couple of years, we've revamped our playoff structure. It used to be that, you know, the top 32 teams got in, and to be quite honest with you, that was, there can be a blessing and a curse. If you're there was times where a 3-5 football team would get in and have to play an 8-0 football team, and it just ended people's seasons in sometimes a rather devastating fashion. So I think taking 16 teams is the way to go, and so that's the way it is right now. There's 8 districts, and the winner of each district gets in, and then it relies on PowerPoints after that. So right now, like you said, we're sitting 14th PowerPoint-wise. It looks like if we take care of business, we're going to have an opportunity to get in. But again, crazy things can happen. So we're only going to control what we can, and that's beating Adams Central.
All right, about 30 seconds to go. How are you feeling heading on into Adams Central?
Really good. We've had a good week of practice so far. Our kids are starting to get a little bit more of a taste of success, and so our coaching staff is firing on all cylinders, and we're trying to get our kids ready to go. So a couple more days yet, but we're excited.
All right, Coach. Well, as always, appreciate you taking the time, and good luck on Friday.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Shamrocks taking on Adams Central, a chance to win, and they are in the district championship. Brandon Axmith, Grant Otten, and head coach Tyler Linder here on the Coaches Show. Like to remind you, you can catch this re-airing at 6:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., as well as 4:30 p.m. on Thursday and Friday. We will catch you next time. Thank you for watching on News Channel Nebraska.